The wind screamed across the open sky as Sergeant Lena Torres clung to the helicopter's frame, her boots slipping on the slick metal. Below her, a canyon stretched like an endless mouth. The mission had gone wrong, fast. What started as a standard medevac had turned into chaos. The pilot was losing control. Smoke curled into the cabin, and then someone shouted over the roar of the blades, "Push her out! She's dead weight!" Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. They shoved her. The world tilted. For one blinding instant, Lena saw the terrified faces of her team above, the same soldiers she'd trained, eaten with, bled beside. Then the wind swallowed her. She fell through smoke and sky. She should have panicked. But instead, instinct took over. She pulled the emergency chute. The ripcord snapped and a burst of white filled the air. The canopy jerked open, whipping her hard against the straps. The world stopped spinning. Below, she could see the helicopter spiraling, fire spitting from the tail rotor as it lost altitude. Her radio crackled in her ear with static and screaming. "Mayday! Mayday, we're going down!" And in that moment, something inside her hardened. They'd pushed her out thinking they were saving themselves. But now, as the chopper plummeted toward the ravine, she knew the truth. If she didn't act, they were all going to die. Lena hit the ground hard, rolling across the dirt, lungs burning. Her knees trembled, but she didn't stop. She tore off the chute, ripped open her emergency pack, and sprinted toward the descending smoke trail. She could feel every second ticking like a heartbeat in her skull. Every step was agony, her ribs throbbing, her leg bleeding from the fall. But pain meant she was alive, and being alive meant she still had a mission. As she crested a ridge, she saw it. The helicopter lodged sideways against a rocky slope, flames licking the undercarriage. The sound of screaming metal filled the air. She didn't think. She moved. Inside, chaos ruled. The co-pilot was unconscious, head bleeding. The medic was trapped under a twisted seat. The pilot, Captain Reese, was still strapped in, trying to unbuckle the others with shaking hands. When Lena appeared in the doorway, his eyes widened in disbelief. "Torres? How the hell are you?" "No time," she cut him off. "Get them out!" Flames burst behind her, the heat biting through her sleeves. She crawled through the smoke, unbuckling the medic, lifting him with what strength she had left. The air was thick with burning fuel, the smell acrid and sharp. "Move, Captain," she shouted, her voice raw. Reese stumbled, coughing, dragging the co-pilot toward the exit. Together, they half-carried, half-dragged the wounded out into the dirt, and then the explosion hit. A shockwave ripped through the canyon, throwing her backward. For a heartbeat, everything went white. When she opened her eyes, she was on the ground, dust raining from the cliffs above. The helicopter was gone, engulfed in fire. But her team, her men, were alive. Every single one. Hours later, rescue units found them. The soldiers were burned, bruised, and shaken, but breathing. When they told the story, no one could quite believe it. The report said she had been accidentally ejected mid-flight. But her team knew better. They had panicked. They had betrayed her. And she had saved them anyway. Lena sat on the tailgate of a rescue truck, her hands trembling as medics cleaned her wounds. Captain Reese walked over slowly, guilt etched deep into his face. "You should have left us," he said quietly. "We didn't deserve that rescue." She looked up, eyes distant, calm. "You don't leave people behind, even when they leave you." The next day, her actions were reviewed by command. The footage from her helmet cam went viral inside the military community. The moment she hit the ground, turned and ran back toward the burning wreck. Soldiers watched it in silence, then stood to their feet. One by one, her name became a symbol, not of survival, but of integrity. Because when chaos hits and loyalty fractures, true character is revealed not by who shouts the loudest, but by who runs back into the fire. Weeks later, she returned to the same canyon for recovery drills. The sun was low, the air quiet. The charred remains of the helicopter still lay half buried in dust. She stood there for a long time, listening to the wind move through the cliffs. That was where she fell, and where she learned what it truly meant to rise. Because courage isn't about what others do to you. It's about what you choose to do after. And sometimes the ones they push away are the ones who come back to save them all. If this story inspired you, make sure to subscribe to Whispered Words for more tales of courage, redemption, and humanity. And tell me in the comments, would you have gone back into the fire? Your story might just inspire the next one.